So today is November 1st of 2024, and basically that means that it's not November. And if you don't know what not November is, it's basically a month or every year in November. It's like a challenge for men not to let one out, and that's basically what it is. You have to go the whole 30 days, the whole month without letting one out. So yeah, that's basically the whole thing. And I think this is a topic that I want to talk about because it's something that I dealt with for a very large, I would say, 3 years of my life. Maybe I dealt with this, and it was very bad. I would almost call it an addiction that I had. But it's been 2 years now since I managed to beat it and defeat it, and like I haven't done that specific thing in over 2 years now. Now that doesn't mean that I'm perfect or that I'm better than anyone else who still struggles with it. Because even this year alone, I still look at stuff that I know I shouldn't, and stuff that I used to look at when I used to do it, but I just don't do it. I just look at some stuff that I know I shouldn't. I've been trying to. Oh, I've been definitely been trying to stop that, and definitely to the Lord and to Christ in prayer. I have stopped. It's been a couple months now since I looked at the stuff I shouldn't. So I've been doing good now, and so I guess today it was just like a video of me talking about like some methods and some ways that can help you to like go the whole month to maybe even the rest of your life going without doing it. So yeah, let's get started. All right, before I get to the points that I want to talk about, I want to talk about the fact that no matter how long you've been struggling with this, no matter who you are, eventually you will stop. Eventually it will end. Now, how do I know this? Because I used to be in that cycle where I would do it for so many times, so many days, so many times that I generally thought I was never gonna be free from it. I generally thought that I was gonna be like this for the rest of my life. I thought I was gonna do this for the rest of my life. I didn't think I was able to beat it, but it wasn't really me who beat it. It was the Lord Jesus Christ. I think when I started to get closer to Him, and when I started prayer, and when I started more of that, it really did help, and it really I think that's what really set it off for me to finally stop, because I know what it feels like to keep doing it over and over and over again, and every time you tell God, that was my last time, I swear, that was my last time, I promise. I did that so many times that it felt like I was taking advantage of that forgiveness, and it just, it felt every time I finished, it was just like, yeah, everybody knows this, that feeling of remorse and guilt that you feel, which is the Holy Spirit convicting you, is like, yeah, it's not a good feeling. And while the pleasure definitely felt good in the moment, after that, you just feel dead almost. You feel empty. But so every time I would do it, I would always say to God, God, that was my last time. I promise, I promise. And then I would say it again, and then again, and again and again. It got to a point where I just kept saying, I don't know when it's gonna be my last time, but it's just, I want to do it again right now or something like that. I really couldn't stop almost. It was very bad over those like couple of years that I dealt with it. But now that I finally don't do it anymore, and now that I finally like found a way to like beat it or defeated it, I think maybe my points today might help you if you're dealing with this. I think they might help you, but always just remember that it's God in the end who's going to help you. He's the one who's going to help you from this, but you have to make that choice. And also, even though God will help you, you have to make the choice to give it up. You have to make that choice of like, what do you love more, God, or do you love this more? Like, you have to give it up eventually, especially if you want to follow Christ. Yeah, these points might help you, or they might not help you, but they've helped me, and they've helped me from like not doing it again. So even though sometimes I do get tempted, I haven't done it in over 2 years now. So let's get started with point number one. These points, you've probably heard them before, but number one is going to be, don't fight it. I know what that sounds like, don't fight it. But the thing is, when you're fighting a spiritual battle, man, you're not gonna win that, okay? Because guess what? Jesus already defeated it. You don't have to fight it, you don't have to fight it because you're not strong enough to fight it. But if you just don't fight it, and if you just stand still for a moment, or just take a breather and remember to yourself, hey, when Jesus died in that cross and He took all my sins, He already defeated lust. He already defeated all these desires and all these things. He already defeated it. As it says in the Bible. Look, I found this verse that might explain it a little bit more. Romans 6:6. For we know that our sinful selves were crucified with Christ, so that sin might lose its power in our lives. We are no longer slaves to sin. Come on, Jesus already defeated it, so you don't have to fight it no more. All you have to do is listen to what he says and just follow him. That's all you have to do. You don't have to fight it. If you fight it, you will give into it because you're not strong enough to win that fight. You're gonna lose it because you have to think about it. It's more than just a mental battle. It's more of it's a spiritual battle. You know, the enemy wants you to do it because he wants you to give into that pleasure, to that sin, and spend the next 1, 2, 3 hours doing it. The next couple of hours doing it. That's how long I lasted with that. I would do it over and over again for hours and hours, and still it hurt me, but at the same time it gave me the pleasure I wanted. But after it ended, I just felt empty again, and I didn't fight it. I didn't fight it before. Sometimes I didn't fight it. Sometimes I just gave in straight to it. But sometimes when I did try to fight it, it was even worse because it was I would feel even more guilt because I felt like it was my fault again. So it's like, listen, just don't fight, okay? Just listen to Christ, listen to his voice, listen to his word. Just don't fight it. If you fight it, just if you ever feel like when you feel those temptations, just let it sit there for a bit, but just don't fight it. Don't get into your mind of like okay, I'm not gonna think about this, I'm not gonna think about that, and I'm not gonna do it. You know, I'm not gonna do it because when it comes, you're probably gonna do it. So just remember, don't fight it, and remember that Christ already defeated it for you. Number 2 would be pray. Pray. I found the verse. Okay, let me read the verse real quick. Matthew 26:41. Watch and pray so that you will not fall into temptation. The spirit is willing, but the flesh is weak. I think you have to remember the fact that you are not a flesh. We're not a flesh being. Even though we do have flesh, we are spiritual beings with a soul. And our flesh is what really wants that temptation, really wants that lust. It's our flesh, you know. Our soul doesn't really want that because our soul doesn't need that. All our soul needs is Christ and love, which come from Him. So like our soul doesn't need, it's our flesh. Our flesh is what wants that, you know. So like I think praying, you just have to pray about it. You know, don't fight it and just pray. Pray, focus, meditate on the fact that, hey, Jesus already defeated it. So now all I have to do is accept it. So Father, I ask that you help me accept the fact that I no longer have to fight this temptation. All I have to do is accept the fact that you already defeated it for me and that you died for me. So all the times that I did fall into it, I have been forgiven for that. And now I can be born again through you and become someone who doesn't do that no more, you know? So just pray about it, and I think you'll be good. Number 3 is gonna be read the word. Let me read the verse real quick. Matthew 4, 1:11. Then Jesus was led by the Spirit into the wilderness to be tempted by the devil. After fasting 40 days and 40 nights, he was hungry. The tempter came to him and said, "If you are the Son of God, tell these stones to become bread." Jesus answered, "It is written, man shall not live on bread alone, but on every word that comes from the mouth of God." So basically, Jesus here being tempted by the devil, basically he laid out the example on how we're also going to defeat temptation, which is to read the word. If we read the word and just keep on, like a verse that helps out with temptation is one that goes by, the one I just read about, we are no longer slaves to sin, but there's also one that says that no temptation should overcome you, you know, and God doesn't tempt us. So like, just read the word, and if you keep those phrases, those verses in your head, and you keep saying them to yourself, you remind yourself that, hey, I really don't have to fall into it. Like I really don't. For one, Jesus already defeated it, so I'm no longer a slave to it. Number 2, God is not the one who's tempting me, it's the enemy. And number 3, no temptation should overcome me, which basically means that it's not going to overcome you. You know, you don't have to fall into it. This temptation doesn't have to fill you no more. It doesn't have to overcome you. It doesn't have to be the thing you go through, and you don't have to fall into it no more. Through Christ, you don't have to fall into it no more. All right, if you read the word, if you keep yourself busy in the word, I think that temptations, when they do come, they'll feel like a breeze, because you'll be so in focus in who God is and who Jesus Christ is and what He did, that you just won't focus on it no more. Okay, another point would be to keep yourself distracted. By distracted, I mean that don't just be doing nothing all day. Because if you just do that, then of course it's gonna be easy for you. It's gonna be easy for you to like fall into it. How do I know this? Because during the summertime when there was no school, that was the time for me where I would fall into that lust, that temptation the most. Why? Because there was no school. I would keep myself busy. There was nothing to do. Every day I could fall into it because there was nothing for me to do. So like that's why during the summer it was the worst time that like I dealt with it because it was just I was free the whole time. There was nothing else for me to do than to just do it. That is why I now try to keep myself a bit busy. So like I don't get as tempted as much, and two, I have stuff to do. Like this could be anything. This could be working out, spending time with your family, friends, church, reading the word, getting a job. For me, what it's helped me is just like one, just this YouTube channel and my other two YouTube channels that I'm trying to grow. And like those channels, they've kept me busy. They make me like every day, every couple of days, I have to make a video to keep myself consistent. So like at 2 a.m., instead of finding myself struggling what to do it or not, instead I'm trying to make a video or something. Like that's how I keep myself busy nowadays. Or working out too, of course, spending time with family and friends. You can do that too. You don't have to fall into it. And also, and if you have to, whatever it is you're looking at, like a phone, if you're using your phone to do it, if you have to give your phone to like a parent, an uncle, a brother, for them to keep it so you're not tempted, then give it to them. You have to put your phone like somewhere far from you. Give your phone to your parents, give your phone to your older brother or older sibling, an uncle, whoever's in your house that can take your phone and they can keep it for the night. Then give it to them, so like you wouldn't be tempted by that stuff. You're not gonna. Most of us, when we get tempted, it's because we go online and we look at stuff, and something appears, and it sets off like a trigger. And sometimes we just give in to that trigger. But if we never saw that trigger, then maybe we wouldn't have given in. So just if you have to keep your phone away from you and give it to your parents, give it to whoever, and yeah, keep yourself distracted, keep yourself in the Word, keep yourself praying to God. Try and learn more about Him. Or just do more with your free time, or focus on school. Just do all these things, and I think if you find yourself getting really busy, you just won't have time for it. So yeah, I think that would be another point. And my final point would be to choose God and don't choose to sin. I touched on this a little bit. I think I said a little bit. I think I said it before a little bit, but it would be to just choose God. What does it look like to choose God? To choose God, I think for me, it means to, pray and meditate on the fact that, meditate on the fact that, hey, God already defeated sin through Jesus Christ. Jesus Christ was God in the flesh, and all that sin that I've been dealing with, not only does he know what it feels like, he defeated it by reading the word, which is what you should get into. Or, if you want to go to church or your family, friends, keep yourself distracted from all the sin and focus and go in a place that's good, go in a place that's holy, and focus on the fact that God is the holy God, all loving God. He's the all powerful God. He knew you before you were in your mother's belly. He knew you before he created the universe. He created all these perfect things, and like he created you, and he knew the plan for your life before you were born, before he created the universe. So like you just focus on him. Think about the fact that every time you're there in your room at 12 a.m., you lock the door, and like you're about to do it, you get under the covers, you get on your phone, and you start searching things up. God is right there, man. He's watching you, he's observing you. And when you do that, it hurts him, because like he doesn't want you doing that. It goes against what his intentions for your life were. He doesn't want you to do that. So focus on him. If you do fall, know that he's there to help you to pick yourself up again, and to have another go, and to not fall again. I think there's times where we feel like we're taking advantage of his forgiveness, but once we finally defeated it, and once we finally do it, we know that we thank God for forgiving us. I did it for so many years, and I felt like I was taking advantage of his forgiveness and mercy and grace. Also, focusing on God, it helps me not do it. Because to be honest with you, if I wasn't a Christian, if I didn't follow Christ, if I didn't try my best to follow his teaching, follow his word, I would still be doing it. I can confidently say that the only reason why I'm not doing it is because of Christ. You know, I don't think that without Christ or without God, I probably wouldn't have been able to beat it. I think I will still do it. I do think I don't think it would be as bad as it was, but I think I will still be doing it every here and then, which is not good. You know, I know some people say it's healthy. I know people say that there's some benefits. He didn't create us to experience that type of pleasure. You know, that's not how God created us. And like there are so many things that without God I will still be doing. I think cursing and this are two things that if I didn't believe in Christ, if I didn't believe in God, I will be doing those things. I will be saying the F bomb. I will be saying all these things. I will still be doing the thing that I'm no longer doing. Now that I'm done doing it, now that I haven't done it, I think the fact that His grace was there and that He forgave me, you know. And even though I still struggle, or even though I still sin, I'm thankful for His grace and forgiveness. That every day He can He can pick me up, and to have another day and to just make Him proud, you know. Yeah, but yeah, I think there's one more thing though I want to say before I wrap today's video. One more thing. Okay, the last thing that I want to say is once you do defeat, you know, the thing that you've been doing it, beating your meat. Once you defeat that, I want you to know that your life is not gonna change. Like, don't get me wrong, it will change. It'll be better, but it's not gonna change the way that you think it's gonna change. Because when I was addicted to it, I thought that once I stop, that my life is gonna be so much better. The things that I want, I'm finally gonna get. The things that I want to do, I'm finally gonna do. 2 years later, I can tell you that my life is almost exactly the same, except the fact that I'm no longer doing it. And I thank God for that. I thank God that even though I want to be somewhere else, I thank God that I'm not where I used to be. You know, I'm thank God that I'm no longer dealing with that. I'm thank God that I'm no longer struggling with that no more. You know, as much as I used to. I know it's no longer like a fight. You know, it's no longer a battle, because now I just accept the fact that, hey, Jesus Christ already defeated, man. All I have to do now is live my life the best way I can, to make Him proud, to spread His word, to, you know, do good by Him. You know, like giving your life to it, because my old self was crucified through Him. Even though I'm not perfect, even though I'm not a perfect Christian, I'm trying my best, man, and I can't wait to grow up, become a full-grown adult, and to follow Christ with everything I got, get baptized, you know, all those things. Because right now I'm not sure if I'm ready, but I think right now this is a good start for this YouTube channel. So yeah, no, what I'm trying to say though is know that your life isn't gonna change. What I mean by that is that when I used to do it, I was very anxious around people. Yeah, I was very shy. I was very awkward. I would have very negative thoughts. And 2 years later, I still have all that. But the only difference is that now that I'm with God, now that I'm actually trying to follow Him more, my anxiety, my negative thoughts, my anxious, being shy, awkward, and like all these things, they're no longer there as much. They before they were like all the way up here, but once I give in to Christ, once I stop doing that, we went down all the way down here, you know. And it has definitely trying to focus on God has helped me so much more than I could ever imagine. And even though again I'm not where I want to be, I'm glad I'm no longer where I used to be, and I thank God for that. I have been very impatient with Him, and I want things now, but I think I realize that, hey, I'm not where I want to be, but I'm glad that I'm no longer where I used to be, and I thank Him for that. So that's what I want you to know. Your life, once you defeat this, your life is not going to change dramatically. Your life is not. Your life is not going to be where you want it to be. Your life is not going to be the life that you want after you defeat this. You know, but I want you to know that it will get better, and that once you defeat it and once you focus on Him, your life will get so much better. I can tell you, because my anxiety has dwindled, my anxious thoughts have dwindled, all my lustful thoughts have dwindled. Even though I still struggle, even though I still fall a couple times here and there in things of sin, I lie, I judge, I say things I shouldn't. Sometimes I look at things I shouldn't, like I said before. But it's nowhere near where it was before. And I think through Christ, He's just gonna make me even more better. So yeah, if that makes sense to you, I think that's how you gonna defeat No No November. That's how you're gonna win, not through you, but through Jesus Christ. So yeah, that's the video. Uh, Thank you for listening to me, and for watching. If you made it this far, thank you, and goodbye.